they were having a midterm at Berkeley, and these kids, for whatever reason, are like, no, we don't want to take our midterm because patriarchy, white oppression, something, something,
Yeah,
something.
they're
It's all the
complaining
same
about
shit.
they're complaining about some demonstration that occurred on campus. So I'm guessing like some conservatives spoke on campus and they feel too threatened by it to take their midterm is what I gather from watching the video.
Heartbreaking. These fucking kids.
So we'll play this. They demand that the midterm be canceled. They get some pushback from the professor and the people taking their test. I think the question to keep in mind while we're watching this is, are you or are you not satisfied with the way the professor handled this exchange? I tried to subtitle it so you can sort of understand what's going on.
Since the test will not be canceled today, as we all see, instead of an exam, we are requesting a take-home essay with significant time to prepare. Our well-beings are being put on the line because of our emotional, mental, and physical stress
Oh
that
my
this university
God.
is compounding with what is already going on our everyday lives. We demand that you make and hold space for to center the voices of students of color.
Is this a filibuster?
How about you respect somebody talking? How about you white students shut up?
Yeah, you fucking take so much space.
Exactly.
You listen. You have to listen, okay? Listen to us, okay? You talk
You don't have
so
to listen
much
to shit.
already.
Mind you, this is during a test. It's not just like
Oh my
people hang out. This is
God.
during a midterm exam. Yeah.
Thank you, you minority assholes, for rendering all these kids' degrees useless.
And while
your
we're paused here, note the shirt. Caution, educated student of color. It's an educated student of color refusing to take a test and
Oh my God. I can't.
making it more difficult for other kids to take the test.
Ugh.
And when they say, I'm just trying to take the test, they say, no, you listen. You listen,
You
white
take up
boy.
so much space. What does that mean? Are you saying that white people physically take up too much space? Then the implication there is that you should remove them from the space. That they
I guess.
remove their bodies, right?
I don't know what they mean. Don't ask me to explain their reasoning. Everyone knows that's impossible. Let's just hear them out.
Okay?
Why is
So
it in class learn
listen.
about our communities if you want to speak over all of us?
You really want to silence all our voices?
Are you trying to silence us right now? Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm trying to take my test.
Exactly. Well, where we're
Oh my
trying
God,
to
we're our lives. We're trying to live our lives.
Exactly.
Calm down.
We can.
White boy
Oh, yeah.
privilege.
Calm down, white boy privilege. That guy's just saying, I need to take a test, and they're telling him to calm down. They're the ones
my
shutting down a classroom, but they're telling other people to calm down.
Only
So
in
then-
America. Gee.
Then they ask the professor, what's your response? Here's where we get more commentary from the professor.
You still only want to catapult one a year?
Well, first of all, I would say I admire the fact that
No. We don't want any admiring.
We don't want admiration. We don't want.
But I think you need to let me finish. I let you finish, and I am sure that you
We've
finish.
been letting you finish this forever.
My
What the-
response is, on a campus like the University of California, Berkeley, I am not about to let 50 right-wing demonstrators,
There was not 50. There was over 200 in the email. It said over 200 people.
let's say it's 200. You keep the integrity of the institution you are a part of. For 50 people or 200 people or 1,000 people to be able to shut this enterprise down, I think is deeply flawed. I am not going to get into a debate on all these issues right now.
Yeah, get out of my
pleased
classroom.
to address them
That's it.
at the beginning of class on Thursday. I respect you getting up here and stating your disagreements, but with that, we are going to go ahead with the exam, not despite the demonstrations, but to show that all of us, as part of a community, are capable of doing what a university does.
I couldn't tell what she was saying right here, but it's something like, what do you have to say to the fact that you're a white guy with privilege who doesn't get it? Something like that. It's a general accusation of racism, basically.
Don't tell me that.
Yes, understand your privilege. Understand your privilege. Understand your privilege.
You're going to see people that I've worked with.
Oh, I love how it
that
goes
I
into
was
defense
very
mode.
close with. From these communities.
You can work with as many people as you want. At the end of the day, you're not a person.
Okay, there it is. Right there.
What?
This is why nobody should try to be an ally or try to understand communities of color, whatever, lend yourself as a white person that understands. Because at the end of the day, they're going to say, you're a white person. You don't understand our experience. You're not a part of this.
And you can't. Yeah, that's her point. You're exactly right. To the point, he's
This
lending
guy's
himself.
cucking hard.
Right. He's trying to make the case that I am sympathetic to what you're talking about, but this isn't the place. And they say, well, it doesn't matter anyway, because you can't be on account of the color of your skin. And by the way, we're so anti-racist that we're telling you can't comprehend certain concepts.
That's why it is futile to even get into a defensive position. When somebody calls you racist or something like that, you never say, I'm not racist, here's why. You say, whatever, you think I'm racist? Cool. Don't defend yourself. You got me. Yeah. That's it.
You found me. All right, I'm going to go on with my day.
Oh my God, let's finish this. Let's just...
Almost finished. And then, I'm curious. I want to flesh out more thoughts on the professor for sure.
I don't know why you still like sitting down, y'all. I don't understand. I really don't understand. Y'all can take the fucking test, but people are dying out there.
Who's dying?
But this university keeps protecting white supremacists, and y'all are protecting them too.
Yeah, you haven't seen the mass grave at UC Berkeley?
Oh my
It's one of the
God.
campus features.
Do you know what I have to say about this? The most important thing I have to say about this. Your average person, like let's take Styx Hexenhammer, for example. I was looking at his Twitter today and he was like, this anti-white rhetoric has to stop. And I'm seeing this from like a centrist like Styx Hexenhammer. Your average person sees 3 Mexicans lecturing a white Berkeley professor about his white privilege, shutting down an exam. And they're like, if the other side, if you want to call them white supremacists, whatever, I don't care. I'm in. This is a creation of people that are tribalistic. I don't know what they expect to be the end game of this.
Yeah. Well, that's why I am sort of on the one hand appreciative of the professor, on the other hand I'm annoyed with him because I very much appreciate that he's willing to say, look, we're not going to let some dumb demonstration unrelated to this class shut down this class, because if we do, we're setting a precedent that anyone can come in here and just shut this down. We're not going to do that. So I very much appreciate that he said that, because he's exactly right. On the other hand, he makes the mistake of saying, well, I want to start by saying I admire you and I appreciate what you're doing. I get that he's in a position where he kind of has to do that, and I presume probably he's...
No, he doesn't. He has to say, get out of my class. Oh, and people in the laptop are saying, I didn't mean Styx is like of average intelligence. I meant that he's a centrist for the most part.
Right. No one outside of Right Wing Watch would accuse him of being some type of like race realist or racial supremacist.
Yeah, what I meant is that you're centrist, your person that's middle of the road or apathetic about politics sees stuff like this and it radicalizes them to some degree.
It's like Professor Guy. Not only did they come in and hijack your class, that's strike 1. Strike 2 is interrupting your students trying to take a test. Strike 3 is calling your students, saying they can't do certain things. They're being overtly racist to your students is what I'm saying. And strike 4, if you're going to go on a 4-strike rule, is calling you racist, all while interrupting a test. This, God, man, he should have, if only he would have been out in front of it and said, no, you will not interrupt my academic environment. And you certainly won't do it on the basis of with racist allegations, not only racist allegations, but racial criticisms, saying, shut up, you're white. You can't understand you're white. You're taking up too much space, white boy. I really would have liked to see a lot more aggression out of him to stop that before it even started.
He's an old liberal Berkeley professor. What do you expect? Do you think that he's just going to grow a pair now after 70 years of being a pussy?
Well, he's so right about setting precedents. And on the other hand, he's kind of setting a bad precedent.
Of course he is. Saying, I admire you doing this. No, you don't. I'd be like, get out of my class. I have a catapult in the back. That fits all of you.
And that's the point is, I don't care if you guys are whatever you are, social justice warriors like you are. I don't care if you're actual Nazis. The point is you don't interrupt my academic environment like this. I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care if it's good,
is great,
bad,
though. I
whatever.
love seeing stuff like this happen because people see this and they're like, oh, I can't go to Berkeley because when I graduate, somebody that's going to give me a job is going to look and see that I didn't learn dick and then I was just indoctrinated.
Yeah.
So we need the higher education bubble to burst, and this kind of stuff, this kind of footage reaching the general public really will do it. I mean, I'm not going to send my kids somewhere where they can't take a test because a bunch of pissed off minority students stop the test for whatever reason.
I would like to see them all.
What protest are they even referring to? I don't even know.
I don't know. I tried to look it up, but I didn't have a lot of time.
200 people?
Yeah.
Was this the Ben Shapiro thing?
That was weeks ago, though. And there were more than 200 people at that.
I don't even know.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible. This happened on October 8th. And Ben Shapiro, I think, was like late September. So it's possible. It might actually be that.
It's
Yeah.
infuriating.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm pissed off from afar. I have no relationship to UC Berkeley. I have no emotional attachment to it. I don't even know anybody who went to UC Berkeley. But watching stuff like that enrages me. I can only imagine if I was a student there and my education was actually being impacted, or an alma mater and the value of or if that was my alma mater, if I were an alum.
Yeah, and as a student, you wouldn't be able to do anything about it because you'd be so horribly socially ostracized and probably assaulted if people found out that you were conservative. People would be doing
You don't
stuff
even
to your
have to
dorm
be a
rooms.
conservative to be like, this can't stand. I don't care what your political opinion is. You can't interrupt my test taking. Regardless of whatever your stance is, I don't care how virtuous you are. You can't interrupt my test taking.
What was the
And-
eventual outcome of that?
It was hard to tell because I can't hear everything that they're saying. They said something like, we're going to go protest elsewhere, and they leave. So they leave, but I don't really know, did they choose to leave? Did he make them leave? What I would like to see the outcome be is an insta-fail for all of them
Insta-fail,
from
that's
that
what I was
class.
just gonna
And
say,
you'll
yeah.
never come back. You're banned from the class.
Yeah. You want to appeal it? Go nuts. I'm
Yeah.
a tenured professor, which
Yeah.
I'm sure he is. I mean, he looked ancient.
White people want to see an improvement for people of color. They need to understand that racism is not learned, it's inherited, and either consciously or unconsciously passed down through privilege. The uncomfortable truth is
Okay.
that the white race...
All right.
I'm just saying that it is insane to say that racism is inherited and then shit a brick when people talk about race and IQ.
Just boom. Square in the face.